WWII/5. Secrecy, departure, and Stalin's grand surprise. History's most unique logistical operation was executed under such extreme secrecy that even the Soviet Politburo was kept in the dark. Stalin trusted only 3 men with the knowledge: Chief of General Staff Marshal Boris Shapashnikov, the commander of the Moscow Front General Georgy Zhukov, and General Apanasenko of the Siberian divisions. Remember Zhukov's name carefully. He was not only the one who would orchestrate the German defeat at Moscow, but would also later march into Berlin to receive Germany's surrender. Unlike many armies, the Red Army did not have a chief of army staff. Instead, the chief of general staff held the pivotal role of strategy and planning, every war tactic, every grand operation. Only the sharpest military mind could be trusted with such responsibility. In 1941, that mind was Shapashnikov. He masterminded the transfer of Siberian divisions to Moscow using the Trans-Siberian Railway. The operation demanded absolute stealth. Divisions were instructed to move at night, with entire trains blacked out. Seats were removed so more men could be crammed into each carriage. Before the trains arrived, surplus railway staff were dismissed. Those who remained were cut off from communication, forbidden even to write letters. Every night, 50 trains ran silently across Russia, moving more than 800 kilometers in darkness. By day, they were hidden in specially built sheds. Soldiers were warned that any leak of information meant immediate court-martial. Even NKVD guards along the tracks were told nothing except, guard the stations and protect the line. Stalin personally checked progress twice a day. It took 10 days for a troop train to reach Moscow, nearly 3 weeks for heavy artillery. By early November, the first Siberian units began arriving, directly into frontline positions where defenses were weakest. German intelligence did notice something unusual. Their commanders reported. Strange new troops are appearing at Soviet lines. Their uniforms, their weapons, even their faces are different. The German field marshal dismissed it arrogantly. Impossible. The Russians are just recycling survivors with new uniforms to raise morale. But he was wrong. These were fresh Siberian troops, battle-hardened, ruthless, and acclimatized to brutal winters. They were about to change the war. By November, 3 forces had united on the Moscow front: the Red Army, General Mudd, the bogging autumn rains, and Field Marshal Winter. The Germans were bogged down, freezing, and exhausted. And then Stalin delivered a shock that stunned not just Berlin but also London and Washington. On 7 November 1941, with the Wehrmacht camped only 35 kilometers from the Kremlin, Stalin ordered the annual Red Square parade for the anniversary of the October Revolution. At dawn, Soviet troops marched across Red Square, saluting their leader before heading straight to the front lines. Stalin addressed the nation live on radio, not from a bunker, but from Moscow itself. The effect was electric. Soviet morale soared to the skis. Germans, at first, assumed it was a recorded broadcast. When they discovered it was a real parade, held within artillery range, even Hitler's high command was dumbfounded. In fury, the German field marshal ordered an all-out assault on Moscow that very day. But when the artillery was called into action, another cruel ally of the Soviets appeared: Field Marshal Frost. The German guns jammed, frozen solid in the bitter cold. And so, at the gates of Moscow, the German dream of conquest began to collapse. To be continued.